Hello, this is Callie K. Cool Weaver with Thoughts at Midnight. We have our co-host,
Alex Hodge.
an editor,
Kevin Gellinger.
and welcome to our talk show.
Mhm.
Woo! Okay. I have had some more changes of heart. A little bit more and some epiphanies. And man, I got some funny stories for you. So we just got back from a family reunion that I have not been in about 4 years. We haven't had a gathering like that in almost 4 years. I think the last time I was with them was on a wedding, which, well, I could be wrong. I think that was like 2 years ago. Whatevs. But it's been a long time since we've had a get together like that where it timed so well. And my cousin was there, aunt was there, family friends were there, and we were up in Michigan. Of course, that means legalization of pot, of marijuana, and they say we become the average of the 5 people that we associate ourselves with, right? We become the average. And of course, I became the average of the 5 people that I was hanging out with due to peer pressure. A little bit of peer pressure, of course. I smoked the joint, and I actually got a double whammy, which my cousin warned my mom about smoking it and having an edible at the same time. Our family friend was sprawled out on the deck, and my mom was making fun of it, like, oh, we should draw chalk. My mom immediately thought, draw chalk his body. And because she watches too much Criminal Minds. And so Tom and I found out a very interesting thing, and this adds a complexity to, like, physicality, mind, body, soul, is that everybody has a different reaction to it. This is new to me, so I'm just figuring this stuff out. People have different reactions to it due to body chemistry and mental makeup. Because I took 4 hits, and I counted this time 4, and I had an edible that was processing in the moment. Tom only took 2. He sprawled out on the deck, and here I am, just having a good old time. And Callie and I here, we got into a very interesting discussion the next day about, because Callie, you mentioned that there was a push for releasing this on, like, federally, and and we had a very, very good intellectual debate about the possibility of what kind of policies that federal is going to put on it, in regards to the corporate world and working environment and so forth. And Callie pointed out that the corporate environment, based on what the job is, may have some variables. But Callie, I'm curious if federal will overreach corporate. I don't know if it does, but that would, to me, that's kind of scary if it does. So we came up with a solution that the federal law actually says also corporate law is allowed to do what they feel is right for their company, right? So that also frees the corporate to abide by their law. But I don't think that happens. I'm curious if they can make it that way, so federal can, because if the federal, you said that you can't get fired and you can't get arrested for having pot. Kind of scary because I know the effects of it. You can't drive a load from point A to point B while having the effects of marijuana in your system. However, I also learned that there is medical marijuana which may be refined in some way so that you don't get completely stoned. So that was a very interesting discussion, Callie, and
And synthetic marijuana.
Those kind of discussions make me even happier than I was on the marijuana. It made me even happier. That's my drug.
Bleach and then smoke it.
A good intellectual bait is also my drug. So, all right.
LSD, crack cocaine.
that's the hard stuff. That's almost like right on. That's that's poison.
Well, people do it anyway, even ecstasy.
Yeah.
They take that sexual drug.
Yeah, ecstasy. I know someone who does that. It's one of our was unfortunately one of our friend and subordinates apparently does that, but so
Yep.
Callie, you wanted to mention something about growth.
I just wanted to talk about you know, how people have the potential to grow and give examples as to, you and I, you know.
Yeah. And I really delved into that, how people grow and the potential of where that could branch out to. And Callie, you also mentioned, we talked about, I have a tendency to view my past self, and we figured this out. Jordan Peterson, one of his rules in 12 Rules for Life is compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. And one of the things that I have a tendency of doing now is comparing myself to who I was 5 years ago and treating that as a separate entity, treating that as a kid that I'm almost bullying the fudge out of, winning against him every time. And that doesn't set up much of a challenge for me, versus say if I compare myself to just yesterday. And what was very interesting about what Callie pointed out to me is that when I treat that as a separate entity, what was it? What was it? You pointed it out to me. Where I have to, oh, that's right. The solution to that is that I got to remember that was me. I got to remember and stay humble, knowing that was me too. And this is why parents will tell their kids whenever actually should tell their boys and girls, if they see an example of an aggressive drunk or someone who is aiming down, and how that could potentially be you. But how also you see a guy who's well put together, who's all buttoned up, he comes to work, or you see a guy in a suit walking around, or you see a worker in construction or carpentry, and you see that all these different potentials that we could grow into as well, that are successful, hyper growth, high performance, and healthy living for people. And I really delved into that, Callie, to treat myself as the same entity as I was before, but also that I think that helps me, helps us to. This will help you as well. To, if you see something, that's why they say imitation is the best form of flattery. So when you see something, you imitate those little things subconsciously sometimes too. Sometimes you're not even consciously doing it. The more you hang out with that kind of person, or people, or group, or even following like thousands of people on, that are into this stuff, like Jordan Peterson lectures and stuff, or you see, not even just him, but different examples of people that we love, that we admire, that we aspire to be like as well. And then we remember that, oh, this is also me, and I could grow into this somehow, or I can grow into whatever kind of thing I want. And we have the control to target and go the way that we want. It's my choice to be here, associating myself with you, and then Callie, associating with me. Kev, you associating with Callie and me, and the whole, we're a node in the network. And then you got the 6 degrees of separation. By the way, this will be doing, when we're speaking now, this is going to echo across every 6 people that know every other 6 people that know every other 6 people, and it goes up exponentially. What we do matters, and we have a choice in that. You know how powerful that is? God, nobody can say otherwise, like we don't have a choice in that. No, we actually do. It depends, and you got to take a calculated risk on a decision to make. But you got to take the shot though. Otherwise, you got to take the shot though anyway, right?
Mhm.
Friends are going out. You coming? Parents say no. You have a decision to make. And there's two ways that could go. Decide to go out with your friends. Okay, it's like, I'll show my parents. Watch what I can do, right? Watch this. I'll be back, and then parents decide, oh, we can handle himself, or it can go, you shouldn't have done that kind of thing, right? There's two ways that could go always. But maintaining the truth and maintaining speech and based in reality, which doesn't always happen when you're young. We lie and tend to. But it's like all this is growth stuff, like Callie. It's all good. We've been having all sorts of epiphanies this past week.
So I want to hear some examples on how you have grown in the past 5 years.
I like the sound of that question. About to do self-authoring pretty soon, and this will help me in the past authoring part. So in the past 5 years, 5 years ago, that would have been 20. My brain shot right now.
16.
16. Thank you. 2016 is when things started really turning around. Well, that's when I first got the job at Menards, and my first serious independent relationship with a woman. Not a daughter, like a woman that's actually trying to, get on her way at the time, and we had the full freedom of expression to do that. So I grew in that regard, and she helped me overcome a lot of my discomfort in bonding with someone sexually, and that was a growth of mine. That's another way that I grew. And other ways that I've grown is that through the mistakes that were made and some of the bad stuff that happened as well. But the good things were, got a job, I'm earning an income. 2016 is happening for me. I got I think that was actually when I got promoted to full time at the end of that year. That was another growth. I doubled my money. So my dad and I, we had a conversation at Wings, B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings, and by the way, possible marketing is we had a conversation back on topic. We had a conversation about we need to jump on this. Like, you might be able to live on your own now. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Funny you mentioned that, because I was actually hopped on Zillow the night before. I was on Zillow looking for houses. But what I've lost during that time, I guess you could say I lost some of my humility. I was used to discomfort, working, and I was gaining an income, but I would look at people who are living their own lives, but also aren't there, or aren't working. And I make that, again, it's that qualitative distinction between two people. I have a bad tendency to make that comparison. But I grew. I'm growing out of that. Fast forward to 2018, 2019, 2018. No, when was I 25? 25. That would have been. I'm 27 now.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, right? So that was 29. Yeah, that was 20. Holy cow! When did I go with Josh? It was 2019. I went with Josh. So no, it was 2018. Fast forward to 2018. 25th birthday, I went skydiving. And I thought 2550. And what was really cool about that is that I somehow became an influencer with my friends. They became kind of my average into aviation. My buddy Josh is a crazy mother. Josh, if you're out there, shout out to you. He's on his his 7th tandem. I could be wrong. 6th or 7th jump. Just this year. So that really made my day to see him doing it versus seeing myself doing it. You know, it's one thing to enjoy it, something myself, but to see other people being influenced by that sport of jumping out of a plane or skiing, or if I get someone else into skiing, or if I get someone into aviation somehow. Chris, we flew a plane in 2020. We did everything that the big wigs didn't want us to do. Stay home, stay safe, lockdown. This is the new normal. Behavioral priming, by the way. All behavioral priming, by the way. We went and jumped out of a plane. No, we went and actually flew, did maneuvers over Buchanan. That was a growth moment right there as well. And to see the growth is, instead of me being kind of selfish and being like, oh, I did this, I did that, I'm actually seeing my friends, and that actually I enjoy that, seeing them do it even more. I see them post on Facebook about their jump, and I see, Chris had it shared all over his live stream thing, and I thought that was so cool. And it makes me happier to see them. So that was a growth moment that I had. And now I'm kind of I'm grinding it out still. I'm coasting. Kind of coasting right now. We just got back from vacation, and I've got another one set up in January for, and so I'm my rocket, I guess you could say, has gone into orbit, and now I guess you could say I'm passing the stratosphere, and I'm coasting at the moment, but I'm still in the climb. I'm still burning, because a part of it's because I'm young. I can't stop now. Houston negative return. So I can't stop growing now and coast. It's like, golden years. My dream is to have a spot in Colorado with an airstrip. I was just talking to my dad about this yesterday. With my ideal growth, the direction that I want to head and to end up as through growth, and is a spot in Colorado with a nice little house with a nice big grassy field, like a little airstrip, and I have an ultralight in the garage that I'm souping up. I can soup up that. It's a handcrafted wooden ultralight. There's no pilot's license, no bureaucracy, no like flight planning. I just take it up and go soaring in the middle of, not in the middle of nowhere, because I want to be connected with at least a grocery store and internet and stuff. And not to mention skiing in Colorado. Woohoo! That's my ideal, and that's my ideal retirement. And as of right now, working as an employee, the idea behind it is to make bank, including making bank with the house, because a mortgage, I think there some say that the banks kind of take it over. I hear that sometimes that's the case, but I'm actually, and the idea behind that is I'm still grinding. Like I said, I'm still on the rocket burning into the stratosphere. I'm still grinding. And that's my ideal that I'm grinding towards as far as growth. Sure, there's going to be other things that are going to hit me. But I've been through psychosis. I've been in a hospital of 300 pounds. I've been underweight. I had a overactive metabolism. I was literally skin and bone when I wake up in the morning. Now all these experiences through health and work and stress and accomplishment and chalking up wins, dispensing with my losses, cutting my losses. That's where the term cutting losses, by the way. And that's where I want to head. A lot of people, I don't want I don't want to wind up like, there's a dragon of chaos that I am running from, though. This helps growth too. People that we see that we don't want to become. that pushes us in a trajectory, right? You know, we don't want to become abusive. That's the one thing, right? We don't want to be an abuser. We see that, we've experienced that, or Callie, I haven't experienced, but the abuse that I've experienced was mainly from in the school itself. But I'm actually very thankful that happened, because again, like Callie, you turned that on its head. You said to say thank you for that, for the growth that comes from that. So now I'm here. Here I am. It's like, duh, I've arrived. I see what Alan Watts is talking about. It's like, huh. And I can shut the ego off at will and remember, I'm still that guy. I'm still that baby. I'm still that kid in school, or I was still that kid even as a baby. I can shut it off all the way down to remembering what my name means, and it's just remembering that, okay, we were all born, we all experienced that, and then we're all also going to all experience death, and there's a beauty in that, and there's hope in that. So, and there is a constant, there's a commonality among that. Callie, what was it that we were talking about? Constants and abstract variations.
We were talking about how what was it? I'm drawing a blank.
Give me a minute. I think it was about what constitutes normal and what constitutes, that's it. It was what constitutes what I value as normal and what I value in general, and then it would be different to what Callie values in general. I remember now.
Nope.
Yes. Like I think Alan Watts was right about this. The ego is an illusion. My values and what I view myself and others as may be different to what Callie views and values as success. Like what I call success may be different to what Callie calls success. What is my normal is not the normal. I'm an individual. So what constitutes normal also has an abstraction, but I made the counter argument to that and possible some truth to it, that there are some constants among what we perceive, what we feel as normal. Okay, like, because we know when we feel our normal is when we're on the line of yin and yang. We have that flow state, and we get that feeling like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing now. This is what I'm supposed to be doing now. Making good decisions. This feels good. I'm on the right track. People are happy. Logistics and people are, and I'm, instead of coming home like, what did I do? We have that feeling of what is normal to us and what feels good, because and also what is not normal. So I think there is a constant as to what normal is. I think knowing the normal is very important too. How do we know what the normal price of one of these is, right? It's one of the things that economics talks about. When people don't know the normal value of a thing, what's called anchoring comes into play. Now, anchoring is, say, where they understand that people don't know what a normal to something is. So that's why sometimes prices may seem jacked up or lowered, is because it's not dependent on the normal value. It's dependent on the market. It's dependent on the resources and how expensive it is to make this, and the amount of things that are made. But the value of this, I can touch it. It's a physical thing. I can manipulate it. That's a constant. This is real. This is normal. This is something. So I saw a ultralight going for, and you know how much I thought the ultralights costs? I thought they were like 10,000, 5,000, between $5,000 and $10,000. No, ultralight. I saw an ultralight on eBay for $300 that you can.
The ultra.
An ultralight is a plane that you can hand make and go flying in. Does not require a license. However, there are rules that you need to follow. You can't go over a certain altitude and stuff like that. There's like certain areas where you can have ultralight.
Aviation.
Sure, right. But what I'm getting at is I thought that they cost like thousands of dollars here, and I see the value of. So my expectation of normal value to something like that was a lot higher than what it actually is. The opposite can also happen, right? We don't know how valuable gas really is, right? A gas price in one country may be through the roof, whereas in another country it's, here or other places where it's different. So it adds that abstraction to the normal, but there's a constant. What is real, and there's a constant. There are constants within the contrasts. Yeah. And I think the ability to detach from that and say, yeah, you can see it for what it really is. And then you can accept. Yes. All right. It is dark in here. I'll be right. I got to turn the light on. Be right back.
All right.
Oh, that's.
There we go.
That's better.
Getting the full benefit of my suit of armor.
So what was your reason for dressing up?
Funny thing about that, I when I was on vacation about a couple days ago, I started reading QLA, and I've been instructed not to completely share QLA because it is not for everybody. QLA is a business, like a lifestyle idea. It's a business, and the guy that created it is a hyper growth business level success growth, and also is a coach. He's a success business coach, and that's what he does. That's his business, and and one of the things that he talks about, and it's right in our faces. If you look at a man from 1900, early 1900s through like late 1800s, in public, I looked at pictures of this. All of them were dressed like this. All of them. Actual pictures. They had cameras in early 1900s, and they were all dressed like this. And one of the things that I read about on QLA, and I sure enough, it shone right in my face, is that with women too. Women wore hats. Women wore.
You mean dresses. The Victorian era?
Well, no, a little bit further than that. So like early 1900s, like post Roaring 20s and World War II, right? Or sorry, not post, Roaring 20s and World War II. World War I was kind of going on at that time. In peacetime, in business, and in public, men wore suits. How many people do we see wearing suits in like late 1900s and early 2000s and onwards into 2000s? We get people wearing T-shirts with, and that was a very interesting thing that he pointed out, was that that difference between the generational times and why Gen X's were like so, millennials are lazy, that kind of thing. it clicked. It clicked somehow. Like I saw the difference between culture post World War II, and that seemed to have dropped in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s. And one of the things that like what happened, and keeping that as the normal. Now the normal is only successful people have suits and ties on. Like only sure, not, you see what I'm saying, like a lot of them are like that. But another thing is true with the sport of skiing. Skiing used to be, when it first came out, was only for the top like 1% of class. Now kind of everybody does it, right? So these different values change over time. That adds an extra layer of complexity to the persona and the ego. And cross-culturally, right? We got tribes that are still tribes. They still have their old ways. And what QLA is trying to do is bring some of the good old times back. Like bring some of the good times back to making through hard choices and kind of a little bit of rough and toughen up kind of thing, because that's kind of how it was in the 1900s. It was a very interesting distinction that he made, and that I think that translates into individual growth as well, growth or decay. But QLA explains some of that, but it is very rough. I don't recommend sharing it exactly, or the links or anything to it. It is not for everybody, just like how kind of college isn't for everybody. It's one of those things. The military isn't for everybody. Well, QLA ain't for everybody. But I've been reading into it, and I'm starting to take an interest in it. It's starting to grip me. There's something biological and predisposition to what grips and interests people. That's why there's so many differences with interests. But this thing's starting to grip me. It's got my attention. Men suit up in events like this, or back in the day, everybody did. It was a normal. That's what was considered as normal back then. Now this kind of ain't normal anymore. It's only for like the rare few
elitists.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. So, and we can choose to add to our persona and what we learn from that, or we can learn to add some of the other things into other branches. This is just what gripped my attention, so I'm adding some things from that onto my, like you said, like Callie, you pointed out the skeleton. You're adding things onto your foundation with your personality, and this is one of the things that gripped me. So it's one of those things that, okay, I'm going to actually allow this and read about it and add some of it to some clay to my my frame, my persona. So yeah, and yet could not get too attached, because I can burn it off if I need to.
Hydration station.
Yep. Also, I have not touched alcohol probably like a little over a year. I think it's been over a year now since I've touched.
Yay, no
alcohol.
fatty liver.
Yep. So I have been quote unquote somewhat, quote unquote sober. The reason I say that is because now I've just smoked marijuana. Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Don't mix it with alcohol, makes it worse.
Oh, that might have been why our family friend was brought on the floor.
Yeah.
You drinking along with it?
What?
Was he drinking along with marijuana?
Yep. Combination.
I don't know. I think he was.
Alex, I've heard rumors about that. It pretty much feels like you're dying.
It can.
Well, he didn't feel sick or anything. Not like he was complaining about it, but he just had to lay down for a moment.
I've heard some stories about alcohol and marijuana.
Well, people
they just got back
with
from
all kinds of stuff. Crack, meth. They do that with marijuana
Well,
too.
but thank goodness. I was kind of watching him. You know, I was looking out for him. He even was like, "Alex, you're my nurse, my nurse," and it was a good vacation. Sometimes things like that happen, where, like Callie said, to allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to open up to that, and have the experience without the blocks. And that's exactly what I did. And so did Tom and our family friends, my mom. Uh, so, and it was needed. We needed to feel that. And so I wanted to get into, I took some notes from my time of vacation for topics on here. Skype. How did that happen? Right. I one of the topics of conversation that we talked about, I had with Tom when he was high, is that we're talking about like the Freudian, of course, the psychology, Freudian id, ego, and superego, as far as its effect on fears of like appearing rude or putting up those blocks to make an actual decision on doing something, right? On especially when it comes to meeting a need, because we've got to respect ourselves enough to meet our needs, right? So the id is the desire to meet the needs, the animalistic drive to meet the need. The superego is the judge that calculates how to get there, or they can dispense with it entirely. And then the ego is the part, and it is the bridge between the two that makes the decision. So I think some of the way that mannerisms has been taught may have caused some fears on appearing rude, and might put some inhibitions on making a decision that needs to be decided on to meet a need. And so that was interesting epiphany, and something that I talked about with our family friend, because he didn't want to excuse himself from the table because he had a fear of appearing rude. But then I said, well, it's like saying goodbye at a party. You just announce it. And you just say, "Excuse me, I'd like to, excuse me," and then you'd like to. You don't even have to explain your need or whatnot, but you just say, "Excuse me." And I just gotta. Then he eventually, like I pointed out to him, I saw Marsha get up and go do something, right, without even having to say anything. And I said to him, I said, "See, observe. Marsha just got up. She got to go do something. Go do it." But he had a little bit of an inhibition. He didn't want to get up from the table and appear rude. And I don't know if and again, this is kind of me like being a little self-aware about my effect on other people being in a room. I don't know if I had something to do with that, because was I making him nervous to get up and go if he needed to get something, or was this making him nervous, or does he just get nervous as just a social anxiety kind of thing? I found that was very, very interesting. But I saw Marsha got up, and then she was going to do the dishes, and then I was like, see, then we kind of just were free to get up. We're good. Dinner's finished. And how that can prevent us from making real decisions to meet a need, not only for us, but everybody else around us. So that was pretty cool. We had a good conversation about that too. Or not even we didn't even really have a conversation about it. We acted it out. Like I observed it as it was happening.
I'm too observant.
Me too, Kev. Isn't it a little overwhelming sometimes?
Yeah. Bad habit. I know.
I think it can be used as a good habit. I think it's a good tool to be observant.
Not unless you're a stalker.
Yeah. That's when it gets a little too extreme.
Yeah.
Okay. See, there's contrast to what is perceived as normal,
Yeah.
and then
Always
there's
is.
but there's also a constant. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
So, Callie, how about I turn this question around on you? Your 5 years of growth.
Well, 5 years ago, I moved into a group home. Not allowed to say the name of it for HIPAA reasons. Um, about I was very violent and I would act out a lot, punching things, throwing things, screaming, violent behaviors. I used to self harm. It was really bad. Um, as the years have gone on, it's gotten better. I haven't been in a psychiatric unit since 2016.
Which
Uh,
is really help.
I haven't self harmed since 2016. Um,
Yes.
and then I don't remember much of the past few years, but I'm with recently I've had personality changes where like I'm more able to listen to people. I'm able to um listen without getting emotional. Alex has seen that quite a few times. Um I don't know. I've had a lot of really hard challenges that I've overcome. I am currently taking my parents to court, and that's a battle that I'm fighting, and I am very close to winning it. I mean, there's been so much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Experience is experience. That's growth. So, right on. So, and here we are today on a podcast. By the way, Callie created YouTube, the links to the YouTube and the website, by the way, and these abilities that we can unlock through growth become more and more as we age. This is why I always say, yeah,
I'm
it's nice.
29. I'll be
It's nice
30
not to be
next
young
year.
anymore. It's nice not to be young anymore.
Hmm.
So I say that a lot, and I mean it. So, um, so how about that? Like, where are you today on that? So you got um, here we are doing a podcast, and you got your website switched over. How has that been coming along?
Uh, well, we haven't been doing many talk shows, so there hasn't been really much to update.
Right
No.
on, right on. Yeah, and then we just kind of had we had some work to do. We have some work to do as well. So I was chalking up hours a week to get uh, my vacation timed right and my family reunion. And then Callie, so you had some things to process as well, and you took you know we take care of business.
So I want to go ahead and advertise their stuff a little bit.
Yep, go and
Mm-hmm.
promote your book. I can share. You can actually share the screen still.
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
So so promote and got a book out and Kindle and hardcover and our website.
Uh, Here you go. My book is called Coffee for the Soul. If you just search up Coffee for the Soul on Amazon, it's Coffee by the Soul from Coffee for the Soul by Sarah Cox, which is my legal name. And then you'll come across a book that has a coffee. Yeah, it's really cool. This is my book that has to do with self-growth. It has all my articles and blog articles in it and stuff like that. So I am really happy for it.
Yep, you can find this on Amazon. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? Is there anything else you wanted to promote?
Yes. Then if you go to www.thoughts at midnight talk show.wordpress.com, you'll get to our website. Thoughts at midnight talk show.wordpress.com.
Thoughts at midnighttalkshow.wordpress.com. Right on. I was wondering about this. So, heck yeah.
And this is our site. We have Thoughts at Midnight. Wait a second to load. We have Thoughts at Midnight. We have the YouTube shows and audio shows. We have crap. Give it a sec. Sorry. Technical difficulties currently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a Mac. What do you expect?
Hey!
You know what they used to call it? Macintrash. Macintosh. Apple.
I know how to make a Hackintosh.
Blog, our
Okay.
old YouTube podcasts and audio podcasts. We have, so I've been doing something where mental health coaching. So if anyone needs any support, go ahead and reach me on there. And then we have our ebooks on our website, which is Coffee for the Soul. And we also have a spot where you can donate if you want to. The website again is thoughts at midnighttalkshow.wordpress.com. There's all of us. So there's a blog.
Right on.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and check us out.
Mm-hmm.
And Callie, I will share the links on across platforms, Facebook, and I'll share it with some of my close friends as well, and through possibly I may be able to get something through Notre Dame Best Buddies. I'm curious what's going to happen when I do that. I had a little kind of a plan set up. When Best Buddies returns in person Notre Dame, this is where this is going to be going. I'm going to sand some cards, some more. I still got some business cards for you. I've been sparing the last deck for sharing them with.
Well, we are doing a different website currently, so
Oh, that's true.
So that
Okay.
ain't gonna work with
So
the
so
old
the
ones.
won't work with the cards. Thank you for letting me know about that. That would have been that would have been bad. Thank you for letting me know about that.
Thoughts at midnight.wordpress.com or print it out.
I'll make sure thing, but I'll also get I'll just have it on my phone. I could just share it. All I got to do is talk to somebody, and I got to talk to the right person at Notre Dame. Who knows what's going to happen? So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Yeah.
I wanted to share that with you, Callie, as a little plan to get this thing populated.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's end this on a funny note. I got a funny story version of the story of what happened. A funniest thing happened when our family friend was sprawled out on the floor. Let's call him Tom, okay? Tom. When Thomas the train was sprawled out on the floor, we derailed the train. Tom's down. He's laying low. My mom is sitting next to me. My aunt is across the table, and I think the other family friend was inside. And we hear a couple fireworks go off. We're high. We have a lot of thoughts going in our heads, right? And we could just open up and be funny. I said, the fireworks crack off, and I say, There's a sniper out there. I think we should sniper out there. I think we should get to cover. And I think we got to get Tom to cover. I made that as a joke. I said, there's a sniper out there. I think we should get Tom to cover. And my mom said, he's already laying low.
That's the best way
He's
to put
already laying low. We're the ones that are gonna get shot.
it. Hey man, you
and,
bitch, get up.
and my Aunt Marcia, my aunt was sitting across from us. Not high, sober, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's just laughing at all. She's just taking it all in. She's like,
He got hit in the head with a coconut.
yeah. Marsha's just, she's just observing this from a nice separated mind, and she's sitting there like. So, all right, come on, Indiana, legalize it. Legalize it, Indiana.
Besides CBD.
Hey, we're playing catch up.
Our laws have been outdated for decades.
And those who know me well, I don't lose. I don't play catch up for very long. I graduate from catch up. I've stormed past those mother cluckers and go for gold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that concludes today's talk show.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Thoughts at Midnight. We have your co-host,
Alex Hodge,
and editor,
Kevin Gellinger.
And I'm Callie K. Cool Weaver. Definitely thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Have a good night.